All right. Welcome to my first overdub video here. I'm fully aware that probably only my mother and, well, Mom is watching and listening. So hello, Mom. Please like and share and subscribe. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Nakhon Phanom and where I live, and I also wanted to talk a little bit about my bank account experience and also my immigration experience so far. So those are some of the things that I definitely want to mention during the video. Plus, I'll talk a little bit about what you're seeing here in Nakhon Phanom. So this is the riverfront area. There's a bike path that goes from, well, I don't know the full where it starts and where it stops, but in this direction, my understanding is that they're making they're extending this bike path all the way to Nakhon Phanom, I'm sorry, Phanom. And in the other direction, I know it goes to the Friendship Bridge, which is about 5 or 6 miles from here, and I suspect that it probably goes a lot farther than that too. So, yeah. So this is the bike path. There's a couple of my neighbors on the right. That large tannish house on the right, that's my friend Roger's house. He's the gentleman who rides with me sometimes. He's a former Air Force guy. And my place is right here on the right. You're not going to see it, but they're doing a lot of construction here, which I've shown in another video. So at nighttime, this bike path is full of people walking, biking, at nighttime and early morning. People tend to want to stay out of the midday sun here. When I'm recording this video, the video part of it was about 8:30 in the morning, and the temperature wasn't too bad. When I'm doing the audio part of this video right now, which is me talking, it's about 11:15 and it is hot right now, so in just a few hours it got quite a bit warmer. So on the right hand side here is hotels and restaurants, a few homes. The house on the very end here is a really, really nice place. I think the people who own it live in Bangkok and just come up here. It's like a summer home, but come up here once or twice or 3 times a year or whatever. I've never seen them here yet, but it's definitely a private residence. So this is kind of the main area that runs along the road. This will take you all the way to the statue, which we'll see here in a few minutes. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about my bank account. So I am an American. I'm here right now on a 60-day tourist visa, not the visa that you get on arrival at the airport. I applied for this visa before I left America, and it was good for 60 days. And my intention is to establish a retirement visa, which I'm going to be able to do while I'm here. One of the requirements for that visa is you have to set up a bank account. And as some of you probably already know, that is a ridiculously difficult thing to do, or it can be, depending on how much time you're willing to put into it and how much money you're willing to spend to get it. When I arrived in Bangkok in early January, I reached out to a number of agents and lawyers in Bangkok to try to determine how much it would cost just to set up a bank account. Some of them didn't want to do it at all. Some of them said they would do it, but only if I also let them do the retirement visa paperwork. And the quotes that I got just for the bank account setup were from between 5,000 baht and one of them wanted 30,000 baht to set up a bank account. 30,000 baht is about, I don't know, close to $900, maybe a little bit more. So, yeah, needless to say, I was not interested in spending $900 to set up a bank account. So, I went, while I was here, my girlfriend and I, we walked around to several banks and spoke to managers and people working in the banks, and all of them basically said no. For a foreigner on a retirement visa, it is just not possible to set up a bank account. So we did that for a couple days, different banks, different branches, different managers in the same bank, speaking to individuals, and they all said no. So finally one of them said yes. Finally one of them said, yes, we can set up a bank account for you, but you'll need to get an income verification from your embassy. Well, I wasn't thinking at the time, but in 2024, the U.S. Embassy no longer establishes or provides rather income affidavits for people. So that was a no-go. So I was going to give up on that bank, and Pookie said, well, let's call back and see what they say. So we called back and talked to the manager of the bank, and the day before she said that this was a requirement, but on the day that we called again, she said, no, just come on in, and so she wanted a copy of all of the forms of ID that I was going to bring ahead of time with me, which I wasn't really expecting to have to provide, and I'm, just out of pure luck, I brought numerous forms of ID with me, and when we put it all together, there was enough to satisfy the bank manager's requirements to set up a bank account for me. So, so it's funny because some of the things that I brought with me, like for example, my international driver's permit, it's not an official ID. It looks like something that's official, but it's really, as you guys might know from the U.S., you can get, or you do get an international driving permit from AAA, and it has your picture on it and it has a stamp on it, but it's certainly not an official form of identification. What was also interesting is that for some reason I had in my wallet my New York State pistol permit, which had my photo on it, a signature of a judge, and when we got to the bank and showed them all of my forms of ID, including my passport and everything, the woman, the branch manager looked at my pistol permit and she said, what is this? So I had to explain to her that in the United States, people can carry a handgun, and that this particular document was signed by a judge from the United States, and that satisfied her, so. But I doubt that she had ever seen a New York State pistol permit before, or somebody providing ID to get a bank account, so that was kind of funny. But I had, so let's see, so the bank we're talking about is Krungsea Bank, that's the yellow bank, and I got a savings account at the yellow bank. We went to the Icon Siam branch in Bangkok, and I brought with me my passport, my New York State pistol permit, my international driver's permit, my social security card, my driver's license, and what else did I bring? There might have been one other thing, I forget, but I'll take a look to that. But I think there was at least 5 or 6 things that I brought with me. A copy of our lease was required. So anyway, after a lot of runaround and an hour or so sitting at the desk filling out paperwork, I finally did have a bank account that I could use here in Bangkok and transfer money into. So, so that was good. So I've been here for over a month, and it's time for me to now start to figure out what I'm going to do about my visa. So I had some frustrations with that as well. Basically, I just found it really difficult to get good information about the visa, how to get it. There's tons of information online, but that doesn't seem to be, I wouldn't say it's not accurate, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. And what I'm kind of talking about is that when you go to get your visa, you are kind of at the whim of the person that you're dealing with at immigration. They may require 2 copies of a document, and they may require 4. And the other person that's working at immigration may require 1. You just don't know. So there's no single document that says you need this, 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 and that. There's not a laundry list of documents that you need to bring with you. Depending on who you get, they're going to have a different set of requirements, which is frustrating. And when I went to immigration to ask them, what do I need to do to get my visa? The immigration officer told me that I should go to Laos, which is interesting because, I didn't want to go to Laos necessarily. I knew that I could get this done here. And I didn't understand why I would go to Laos. And when I tried to ask why would I go to Laos? What would I do when I got to Laos? What information do I need when I get to Laos? What paperwork do I need to fill out when I get to Laos? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I got a lot of resistance from the people that I was asking this question of. And I think this is a Thai thing. I don't really know. I've seen it with a number of people that I spoke to on this issue. They'll tell you what to do, but when you start to ask why, which is not necessarily why, like, that they need to prove themselves to me as to why I should be doing that, but when you need to understand, if you need to understand why you're doing something that they're suggesting, in other words, I need to understand the nuts and the bolts of it, they don't understand that nature of questioning. And the gist of it is that they tend to get offended. Certainly the question is not meant to offend. It's meant to enlighten and enrich my understanding of why it is that I'm going to do what they suggest. If I had gone to Laos and simply crossed over the border, my current visa that I have from America would be done, and I would be getting a new visa to come back from Laos into Thailand. It wasn't clear to me that what they really were suggesting is to go over to Laos and apply for the non-immigrant O visa in Laos and then come back into Thailand. But they never said that, is my point. They never said, go over there, do this, do that, fill out this form, and then come back. They said, go to Laos, get a stamp, and come back. Well, if I'd gone over as a visitor or a tourist and come back as a tourist, then I would have been royally screwed. So I was speaking with a friend of mine recently about this Laos situation, and he asked an interesting question. He goes, why don't you just use an agent to do this for you? And I thought about it for a second, and I go, well, I don't know. I mean, I ought to be able to do it myself. I shouldn't really necessarily have to pay somebody to do this paperwork for me. I'm a smart guy, and everything that I've ever done in my life, I've done on my own. So. But he convinced me that, yeah, you could do it on your own, and it's really not that hard. But for the first year, there's a number of reasons why it might make more sense to just have an agent do it for you. And he recommended an attorney in Bangkok that I did reach out to. It's not going to be inexpensive. It's way more expensive than if you do the paperwork yourself, but you can totally alleviate yourself of the trouble and the worries of doing the paperwork, doing it right. They take care of everything for you. It's a total VIP service. They pick you up at the hotel that you're staying at. They will drive you to immigration. When you get to immigration, they will you literally walk in, and it's like the Red Seas are parting in front of you, and all of the people that have been waiting there for a day or 2 days to go to immigration and get processed, they move out of the way, and you go to the front of the line. And you have a person with you who's done this 1,000 times and knows the people there and whatever. So, I decided that that's what I would do. I will be able to do my renewals in the future for myself. The non-O visa, retirement visa, does require an annual renewal and also a 90-day check-in. I'll be able to do all those things right here in Nakhon, Phanom. But I am going to go to Bangkok, meet with this attorney, pay the, it's going to end up to be a couple thousand US, I'm sure. I don't know the exact price yet, but, and my understanding is that for that money, they're going to take care of the visa stuff. And this is a nice little coffee shop that I decided to stop at. These ladies here are going to be getting up in a second, and so I'm going to sit there and have a cup of coffee. Anyway, so I decided that I would do that. They're going to do the visa. They're going to set up another bank account for me, which, just for the sake of easy processing at immigration, one of the things that they recommend is that you have two bank accounts, actually. One is for your daily transactions. Here in Thailand, you are constantly using the app on your phone to pay by credit card or really by withdrawal through the QR code. So every one of these vendors, including this guy here with this little coffee truck, has a little QR code signal sign by on their stand somewhere. And when you were to pay, you just open up the app on your phone, point it towards the QR code, and then you enter your PIN number, and that money automatically comes out of your account and goes into that person's account. So that's available from every little vendor, major department stores, gas stations. Pretty much everybody has the QR code because everybody here has a bank account, and if they want to make it easy for people to spend money, they use the QR code. So yeah. So when you go to immigration, you have to show your bank book and bank statements. I don't quite exactly know how it works yet, but one of the things that you definitely want to do when going to immigration is keep it as easy and as simple and as easy as possible for the immigration officer who's working with you that day. And so if you have to show your bank statement, and that bank statement has 6,000 transactions from the quarter, I don't think that they're interested in all that, and I'm not really sure what they see when they see your bank statement and what you're supposed to provide. But the easiest thing to do is to have two bank accounts, one that you make your daily transactions with. You don't show them that bank account. You have another bank account that is the place where you have your required amount of money, depending on the visa that you're on, in that bank account. And there's no transactions, there's the initial deposit, there'd be a few interest payments or whatever, and that's what you would bring as proof of your finances with you, not the other one that's got 6,000 transactions in it, but the one that has just the one. It's easier for the immigration officer to look at that, and I believe that that's the way that most people do it, and probably with good reason. Another thing about the banks is that there are some banks that are easier to do immigration things with than others. It's my understanding that the Bangkok Bank is not particularly friendly when it comes to immigration, because the way that immigration wants you to prove up your finances when you go to renew is you have to make a single transaction into your account the day that you go to immigration. So whether it's, I think it's a deposit you would make. So you go to your bank, you make a deposit, you then ask the bank to print off a copy of your statement, and that statement would show that day's transaction in it. That's the way that they know that you're the account owner. If you use Bangkok Bank for that purpose, I'm not sure if this is true for all Bangkok Bank branches, but it's my understanding that you can't, at least at some branches, get a copy of your statement that day. Well, immigration wants to see a statement that day. So there are certain banks that they like to do business with and certain banks that are not so friendly. Krung Si Bank, the yellow bank that I have, is one of the good ones, and also Krung Thai, which is one of the blue ones, are the banks that that will give, or at least two of the banks that will give you a statement on the day that you need it. So back to the lawyer situation for a second. So one of the things that I'm also going to do is I'm going to have the lawyer set up another bank account. It's going to be a Krung Thai bank account. That's going to be the bank account where I have my proof of funds in. I won't use that bank for anything else, and that'll be the bank that I use to show immigration. So I think I've kind of talked about everything that I want to talk about here. I'm waiting for my coffee, listening to some tunes. I don't know if you can see, but I got the earplugs in, or the earbuds. And I remember this I remember this point in the video because I was listening to a song called Lonesome by Duke Levine, and it's a great guitar piece. I'm about 99% sure that he's using the Telecaster there for anybody who's interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, that's Duke Levine, and he's great. So I'd never been to this little coffee shop before. I'd ridden past it a few times, but I figured I would stop. My regular box cafe is closed for a day or so. I'm not really sure why. They were closed yesterday. They were closed again this morning. It's a little family mom and pop kind of a thing, so not sure why they closed, but they might have had an issue or whatever, but I'm sure they'll be open again soon. But this place was good. Pretty much get any kind of coffee in there that you want. I got a hot latte with no sugar in it, Maiwan, not sweet. I think you'll see me playing a little air guitar here as well. Yeah, we like Duke Levine. There we go. Jam it up there. Jam it up. So Nakhon Phanom, I'm going to show more of the city. Nakhon Phanom is a great city to live in for an expat. It's really, really, I like it. I enjoy Nakhon Phanom a lot. What I've shown you in the videos, yeah, play it. What I've shown you in the videos is just the riverfront. It's just a small, tiny part of the city. It's the edge of the city. There's a lot more to it than just what you've seen so far. And I'm sure I'll get around to showing some of that too. But I think the river area is what makes Nakhon Phanom really great for biking and walking and exercise. It's the life of the city as far as I can tell. There's always something going on downtown. Market on the weekend here in this area here right along the riverfront. The street closes down and all the vendors are there, and you can get everything from clothes, which I've purchased, clothes, to restaurants, to street vendors selling food, to makeup, and you can get your nails done, and you can buy shoes, and just anything and everything that you can possibly imagine is for sale. And I'll actually do probably a number of separate videos on the market itself. Maybe the next time we go through, I'll bring some recording there, and we'll do that just so you can see what that's like. But yeah, the market is cool. And then on Tuesdays and Saturdays, there's another market. There's a closed market that's in a building later in the video that I'll show you, which is stalls, and they again sell just about anything and everything that you could possibly imagine. It's a friendly city. The people are nice. There's department stores, restaurants, grocery stores, just literally anything and everything that you can think of that a city would have is here. There's a golf course that I haven't been to yet, but I will soon. And then I want to start playing golf again at least once a week. There's a number of temples. You'll see in the video, I think we're going to go through at least 4 temples that are, one of them is in the background there that you can see, but there's just dozens of temples in the city. I don't know the population or the size of the city, but it's big. There's a lot of people, there's hospitals, all the government agencies are here. Pookie works at the courthouse, but there's a couple of different courthouses. There's a family court right down the street from where we live. She works at the criminal court, or the provincial court. And there's a water authority and an electric authority, and just basically everything government that you would expect. Nakhon Phanom, I believe it's the city. It's the name of the city, but I think the district or the state, the province is called Nakhon Phanom as well. So the city of Nakhon Phanom is the primary city with all the government agencies in it, in the state of Nakhon Phanom, kind of like New York, New York. up. Good morning.
Cup. Morning. Sweaty Cup.